In accordance with Section 5.3 of the East Province Home Rule Charter, I'm pleased to submit the administration's proposed fiscal year 2022 budget. This budget was prepared in the midst of a pandemic while keeping in mind that East Province needs to address some of the challenges of and the responses to the pandemic. The City of East Province will be receiving approximately $28 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds, while the school department will be receiving $12 million in federal funds to help in addressing the needs of the community and the recovery. Last year, while crafting the 2021 fiscal budget, we had to address the economic and social disruption caused by COVID-19 while keeping expenditures and staffing to a minimum. In fact, a total of 12 positions either went unfunded or unfilled. In crafting this year's budget, the administration sought to minimize a tax increase to our residents. The administration is happy to present a budget with a minimal proposed city increase of $848,510, 0.779 of 1%. The school department also proposed a minimal increase to its budget of $639,639, which is a 0.58% increase. The overall increases, however, will be further reduced to zero on the city side should we receive an additional federal grant, which we're waiting on for our fire department, in which case this budget will have a total tax increase of 0.587% over last year's budget. This budget fully funds our police department, adds an additional rescue to Station 3 in Rumford, and increases fire personnel. This budget also keeps our residents and businesses safe, our city services at a high level, our infrastructure in repair, and our parks and recreational facilities maintained, beautiful, and enjoyable. The proposed fiscal 2022 budget recommends general expenditures of $177,570,000 and an $8 million increase, which is 4.8% over last year's spending. Of the total general fund increase, city operating expenditures increased by $6.5 million. City funds of the school department rose by $1.6 million. East Province's proposed fiscal 2022 general fund operating budget reflects tight fiscal management with a commitment to continue supporting our residents during these unprecedented times. Most of the city's $8.2 million operating expenditures increases are for the high school bond, increase in school funding, positions filled with ARPA funds, additional police and fire pension contributions, and contractual raises. The following 6 items represent the majority of the overall increase. 1, the line item for the high school bond has been increased by approximately $2.85 million. The school will be substantially complete, and it's actually substantially complete now, by September 1st, 2021. Thanks to the efforts of the East Providence School Building Committee, the city will be reimbursed 74% through the construction aid program sponsored by the Rhode Island Department of Education. The aid is distributed based on the state's fiscal year, which is our fiscal year 2022. The school department budget increased by $1.6 million. Of that, the school department is requesting from the city $639,000. In preparing last year's fiscal budget, the administration did not fill a number of full-time positions because of the uncertainty of the economic impact of the pandemic. The American Rescue Plan Act allows municipalities to use federal funds to fund portions or positions that were previously unfilled due to the pandemic. The administration has identified in this budget 12 full-time employees, positions, and some part-time positions totaling $985,000, which will be paid through ARPA funds through fiscal year 2026. This funding will enable us to fully fund the East Providence Police Department at 103 sworn personnel and 12 public safety communications personnel. In addition, this funding will also enable us to fund 4 labor positions in the East Providence Department of Public Works, 2 positions in the East Providence Library, and 1 position in the East Providence Planning and Economic Development Department. We are budgeting $848,000 as a placeholder in anticipation of being awarded a federal SAFER grant, which stands for Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response. The city has submitted a SAFER grant application in the amount of $7.3 million over 3 years. This grant will enable the East Providence Fire Department to hire an additional 24 firefighters. As a result, this will enable the city to staff a 4th full-time rescue at Station 3 in Rumford. We anticipate being notified in September of 2021 as to whether we are awarded this grant. Should we be awarded the grant, the $848,000 will be funded through said grant, reducing the tax increase by 0.779%, bringing the total increase in this budget to a mere 0.587%. Our police and fire annual required contributions to the pension increased a combined $1.37 million, mainly due to this administration's decision to follow the actuary's recommendation. The City of East Providence will also be an adopter of a more conservative mortality table than what was previously used, to ensure that future generations of East Providence residents are not unfairly burdened. City regular base salaries and other compensations are budgeted to increase by approximately $1.3 million. The increases associated with projected salary increases for all personnel. Our proposed fiscal year 2022 budget calls for a $2.8 million investment in capital. The city has fully funded its reserve requirements required by the city charter under Section 515, and we are allocating the required 1% of anticipated operating fund revenue along with past excess operating surpluses to fund this proposed budget's capital. Additionally, the city has identified capital projects that may be funded through alternative funding sources, such as ARPA, federal grants, and asset forfeiture. The city has historically underfunded or had historically underfunded capital that created and contributed to bad roads, broken equipment, deteriorating infrastructure, and unusable parks and recreational facilities. We are determined to not repeat the shortcomings of the past. Our city needs to constantly upgrade its capital assets to provide the best services and quality of life for its residents and visitors. All of our capital requests are detailed in a separate budget section that you should have received with the budget presentation. To fund the proposed fiscal year 2022 budget, we are requesting a tax rate that is approximately 1.366% higher than the current rate. That increase would be as low as 0.587% should we receive the Safer Federal grant for our fire department. For the average East Providence single-family homeowner with a property valuation of $232,000, our proposed property tax increase would add approximately $59 to a homeowner's property tax. As this administration submits its proposed fiscal year 2022 budget, I would like to review some of the positive financial achievements that occurred during fiscal year 2021. We have built a new high school on time and under budget. The city saw dramatic savings from the original projection. The final cost of the city was reduced by almost $50 million. This was done through additional energy efficiencies and lower interest rates. More savings were derived by financing $24 million to the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank and issuing less bonds than projected. This all resulted in $2.5 million in annual savings to the city in debt service. The city will receive approximately $28 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds to be used to restaff municipal employees, support public health expenditures, address negative economic impacts, replace lost public sector revenue, as well as invest in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure and capital. The school department is also slated to receive $12 million in federal funds. We have fulfilled our commitment to fully meet all ARC pension contributions for our MERS and our police fire pension plans. Additionally, the City of East Providence has a trust fund balance of approximately $28.6 million for other post-employment benefits which are given to employees upon retirement, which is way beyond what the state requires and well ahead of most other Rhode Island municipalities. Our commitment to OPEB and pension funding will help to ensure East Providence's fiscal health for future generations. In continuing our response to COVID-19, the city has received an additional $650,000 from FEMA for COVID-19 related costs. Our fire department recently received $834,000 in FEMA assistance to firefighter grants, which will be used to certify and provide licensing for 25 members of the East Providence Fire Department to provide the highest level of care to our residents. In essence, they'll be certified as paramedics. We have accomplished great things in fiscal year 2021 across all of our departments, and our proposed fiscal year 2022 budget reflects our commitment to continue this progress. Here are just some of the projects that city departments have helped to move forward. A comprehensive plan RFP was issued in early 2020, and the plan effort is well underway. The process is expected to be complete by winter. Community workshops will be scheduled for September and October of 2021. The areas to be reviewed include housing, transportation, recreation, land use policy, among other community issues. After many years of inactivity, the city is now part of a tourism bureau. This will enable the city to have access to more than $500,000 in funding to develop a robust campaign to promote the local attractions and businesses here in East Providence. The City of East Providence has established the first ever arts district in the city. This will exempt artists that live within this area from state income tax, which should encourage residential development in the district. A public art campaign has been funded, which will include sculptures and murals located in Wachamoka Square. New digital wayfinding signage will be installed in the fall of 2021, which will further promote businesses and tourist attractions in these areas. We'll be the first municipality in the state of Rhode Island to do that. The city has adopted innovative mixed-use overlay districts to jumpstart redevelopment in other commercial corridors. This legislation allows for flexible zoning of vacant buildings and encourages innovative reuse of vacant properties. These overlay districts include Warren Avenue, Taunton Avenue, Waterman, and Bullocks Point Avenue. This past year, the city has ushered in an urban forestry program. Several of the city's noble trees were formally recognized as tree champions for its species. A tree planting program began in the spring of 2021 and will continue into the fall. For the first time in its history, the city hosted a Rhode Island Arbor Day ceremony at Hull Street Park. As part of this event, the Rhode Island Tree Council planted more than $10,000 worth of trees at the park. In May 2021, the city planted an additional 14 trees on the grounds of White Neck School, which was funded by a $20,000 grant from TD Bank and the Arbor Day Foundation, thanks to, in large part to our partnership with EP Urban Forest Group. As a result of these activities, East Providence regained its designation as a Tree City USA. Riverside Downtown Revitalization Planning Project is kicking off in September. Students from Roger Williams University will be working in partnership with the City of East Providence, Grow Smart RI, Riverside residents, and community groups to support multiple planning efforts. The students will conduct a planning study and cultural resources survey in Riverside to assess the existing economic, social, and physical conditions of the community. Several stalled development projects, which sat untouched for decades, are now fully permitted, and construction is expected to begin in 2021. These include Wampanoag Meadows, a 400-unit residential development, and a mixed-use development on Newport Avenue, which includes 142 apartment units along with retail uses. The residences of Bull Point has completed its phase 1 development of an abandoned auto repair shop. This initial phase included 22 apartments, while phase 2 will include an additional 12 units. Additional residential development nearing completion includes Circle Drive, the Kettle Point townhouses, and apartments. A new residential construction project is expected on the vacant lot on Waterman Avenue by the end of 2021. New residential construction will provide much-needed affordable housing, including 13 units at Ivy Place. These are all affordable houses. 16 units at the former Vamco site in Riverside. And that, I was just told by our planning director, the developers of that Vamco site will be coming in shortly to talk about the plans that they have. I understand that they have received the required subsidy funding for their project. Very excited to see that project move after years of sitting there as a vacant derelict lot. There's currently a renovation going on at 36 existing units on Sutton Avenue that will become affordable housing units. As part of these projects, the city has formed strong partnerships with experienced community development organizations that have a proven track record of providing quality housing. After more than 10 years of being dormant, the Platte Waters parcels are being transformed into 11 lots for new homes in our community. 3 of these parcels will be designated as affordable housing sites for 6 families. These new housing units will improve the city's aging housing stock. More than 84% of the city's existing housing was built prior to 1980, and nearly 40% prior to 1940. The city is working closely with a regional developer, the governor's office, and our congressional delegation to make East Providence play an important role in the emerging offshore wind industry. This plan will finally put to use the 40-year-old South Key to become a productive use. The city is working closely with a regional developer. A brownfield site located on Dexter Road is now home to 6,000 panel solar array that produces clean energy for the Rhode Island Public Transit Authority. This use will allow the property to undergo environmental remediation that will allow the site to be developed. Additionally, it's a source of revenue to the city as we receive property taxes from that property now. Many formerly vacant industrial properties are now occupied by commercial and manufacturing companies. These sites include Future Foam and Independent Pipe on Almeida Ways, as well as Next Cans located on Narragansett Park Drive. Pace RI now occupies more than 60,000 square feet at 10 Trips Lane, while bringing more than 100 jobs to East Providence. They plan on having a ribbon cutting later this month. I'm hoping that all of you can join us there. Phyllisdale Landing has undergone a complete transformation. The property was nearly vacant when new owners acquired it 7 years ago, but that property is now nearly 100% occupied. Notable businesses at the mill site include Amaral Custom Fabrications, Enotap, Arcwood Reclaimed Products, and We Share Hope that recently moved there. The site of the former Ocean Steel facility is being proposed for a large residential development, which also includes a walking trail with public access to the Seekonk River and a mega pond. A kayak launch is also planned for this site. The East Point project will consist of 380 residential units, including 10% affordable housing units within the development. The city has made significant investment in many neighborhood parks, including Pierce, Grassy Plains Park, and Central Avenue. And we have the wonderful addition of a new splash pad at Pierce Field, which came in really handy during the heat waves that we dealt with this summer. Additional improvements are planned for Riverside Recreational Field, Kettle Point Park, and Sabin Point. A new 600-foot public pier was donated to the city as part of the Kettle Point development. An informational video was produced to showcase many of the city's hiking trails and open space parcels. Improvements to the bike path at Riverside Square will be complete, hopefully, by 2021. We've been waiting on that for quite some time, and the delay really has been waiting on permits from DOT and DEM. The city continues to support local businesses during this pandemic. It was the first community in the state to offer emergency loans to city businesses. Additionally, the city secured Take It Outside grants from Commerce RI, which benefited many local businesses. The city has entered into an agreement with Rise Engineering to replace city streetlights with high-efficiency LEDs. As the pandemic receded, the city provided financial support from its commercial loan program to 2 new food and beverage venues. Crook Point Brewery and Honey Bird Kitchen were both approved to receive loans and are expected to open this fall. These businesses will be located in an area primed for the redevelopment, as the Henderson Bridge project will greatly enhance the accessibility to Massasoit Avenue and Waterfront Drive. This proposed budget continues to keep us on track to ensure that East Providence remains the place where people want to live, work, play, and learn. Many of these accomplishments would not be possible without the support of the council and the work that you put into making these things become a reality. We have accomplished a lot during these past years, but we can do even more to enhance the lives of our residents and the success of our city businesses. The pandemic has slowed us down, but it has not defeated us. East Providence's best is yet to come, and this proposed fiscal year 2022 budget is the beginning of that journey. The administration looks forward to the workshops and hearings on this proposal and will be happy to answer any questions you may have. I want to thank you all.